Wednesday morning here on KSJE, and once again, Ron Price is joining me, as he does now, on Wednesdays for our Life in the Sandbox feature. What are we talking about this week, Mr. Price?
I was on a walk with a friend recently, Scott, and he's familiar with my work, and he said, Ron, what's the number one relationship tip that you would share with people?
Okay.
And I said, can I give you two? And he said, okay.
2 for 1.
So we're just going to do one today. Again, there are several, but if I had to pin it down, I would say the teaching that I learned at a conference in Dallas several years ago, assume good intent. AGI. Assume good intent. So, Scott, let me put you on the spot here.
All right.
In fact, put yourself on camera. So
I'm ready.
There's going to be a raise your hand if this is true. All right?
Dear. Okay. All right.
If I want you to raise your hand, have you ever hurt, frustrated, disappointed, or offended another human being when you really didn't mean to?
Today?
Yeah, really.
Probably.
You mean in the last 5 minutes?
Right.
When I do this in the workplace, hands immediately go up, and I say, "Well, what took you so long?"
Right.
We have all done that. We've all done that.
Right.
Because we're evil people and horrible and rotten and terrible? No, because we're human. We have hurt, frustrated, disappointed, and offended other people at times when we didn't mean to. Now, we've done it at times when we did mean to, but that's a whole separate area.
Right. Right.
Well, what's the chance then, Scott, if somebody has just hurt, frustrated, disappointed, or offended you, maybe they didn't mean to? Is there at least a chance that that's true?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I would say that's probably true and a good way to think about it.
Thank you, because if you react, if it was incidental, and you react, oh yeah, then you, my friend, just created the argument. You created the conflict, not them. They
Right.
did whatever they did for whatever reasons, probably because they're hurting. At that moment, they're troubled by something, they're going through a difficult experience, whatever, and they happen to take it out on you.
But they didn't mean to.
They didn't mean to.
Is
They
what you're saying.
didn't mean to. And again, always no, but that should be, as you just said, your first assumption, a good
Right.
way to think about it. So a good technique is to stop and ask yourself, wow, what's the best possible reason that he or she just did such an incredibly bonehead, hurtful, stupid, insensitive thing? You know what you're going to come up with? You know, I know his kid's been in some trouble lately, or I know her mom's been real sick, or I'm not saying make excuses for bad behavior. I hope I would never say that. But life is hard. And we're in this together, and if we could cut each other some slack, that's another expression you don't hear so much of these days, but be a little more tolerant, a little more accepting. If we could look to minister to somebody's pain rather than react to their attack. Assume good intent. Let your first assumption be something's wrong with them, they're not feeling good, and they're taking it out on you. Hurting people are going to hurt people. You can take that one to the bank. Hurting people are going to hurt people. So,
But they don't intend, pardon me for interrupting,
No,
but I
please.
just want to ask, but they don't intend to hurt people necessarily, right? But it's because they're hurting that there is that collateral damage, so to speak.
not necessarily is the key word. And so why not assume that maybe they didn't mean to? A guy named Ken Futch, who I met some years ago, in fact, we had him here speak at San Juan College some years ago. He wrote the book, Take Your Best Shot. And he talks about when somebody says something insulting to him or less than positive, something he could easily take offense to, in his southern drawl, he'll very calmly say, well, that sounded like an attack. Is that how you meant it? Now, you got to be careful with your tone. You can't say, well, that sounded like an attack. Is that how you meant it?
Right.
Fight is on. Well, that sounded like an attack. That feels like an attack. Is that how you mean it? The person's probably going to say, you know what, no, I'm sorry. I'm frustrated, I just got some bad news, whatever, and I took it out on you. Please forgive me. Conflict is not avoided, it's prevented. It never has a chance to materialize. So AGI, assume good intent. You may be wrong. Maybe they are out to get you. You'll find that out soon enough, and then you can change strategies. But for your first response, AGI, I think you'll find it'll prevent a lot of conflict from coming into your life. You'll enjoy life in the sandbox a whole lot more.
Good advice. Ron Price, thank you very much. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next week.
My pleasure, Scott. We'll look forward to it. Thanks.
All right. You bet. That is Ron Price. He is with me every Wednesday here on KSJE Farmington.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mick Hess, your host.